Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today we're focusing on UnitedHealth Group. You sent in some interesting material, and our goal is to really unpack what's most critical for you to know about the company right now.
That's right. We've got their 2025 performance outlook, a pretty detailed due diligence report from May 2025, and also an update on their more recent outlook and stock performance, again from May.
So it gives us a few different angles to look from.
It should, yeah. A fairly well-rounded picture of where they stand, hopefully.
It definitely feels like UnitedHealth Group is navigating some, interesting waters. You see the strong fundamentals, but then these recent headwinds are pretty clear too.
Exactly.
We're going to look at their business model, what's behind these forecast changes, and maybe what the future holds. So where do we start?
Let's kick off with a quick overview of the business itself. UnitedHealth Group, it basically operates through two main arms. You've got UnitedHealthcare, that's the health benefits side.
Right, the insurance plans most people might know.
And then there's Optum. Optum's more focused on the technology and data-driven healthcare services, pharmacy benefits, data analytics, clinics, that sort of thing.
And that diversification, that's seen as a key strength, isn't it?
It really is. The idea is to offer affordable coverage through UnitedHealthcare and improve health outcomes using Optum's tools and services. They're meant to work together.
Okay, makes sense. That integration provides some synergy, you'd imagine.
That's the goal. Now, the big news lately, the reason it's probably on your radar, is this revision to their 2025 outlook.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Well, they've cited higher than expected medical costs and also some changes within the Optum Health business, specifically around the types of members they're seeing.
Okay.
It's significant enough that they've actually suspended their full year 2025 guidance, though they do anticipate getting back to growth in 2026.
Suspending guidance entirely. Wow, that certainly gets your attention. What specifically triggered that revision before the suspension?
So in the first quarter of 2025, they adjusted their net earnings per share guidance down to $25.15. And the adjusted EPS range became $26.57.
And that reflects what
It
exactly?
reflects the impact of, people using more healthcare services and increased care activity, particularly in their Medicare Advantage business, plus those member profile changes within Optum Health, maybe seeing sicker patients, for instance.
So more people needing care and potentially more complex, costly care within certain segments.
That seems to be the implication, yes, even while revenue is still growing quite strongly.
Right, let's talk about that revenue, because the top line still looks good, doesn't it? It does. For the 12 months ending March 31, 2025, total revenues were about $410 billion. That's up over 8% year over year.
8% on that scale is substantial.
It is. And just looking at Q1 2025, revenue was nearly $110 billion, compared to about $100 billion in Q1 2024. So yeah, strong top-line growth continues despite these earnings pressures.
Okay. And the actual earnings per share for that first quarter?
Q1 2025 EPS came in at $6.85. Got it. Now, these documents, they probably don't have things like the PE ratio or debt-to-equity rate handy.
No, not directly in these summaries.
Yeah.
For those kinds of metrics, you'd need to dig into their, official SEC filings, like the 10Q they filed in early May, or check financial data platforms. Those are crucial for a deeper financial health check, obviously.
Of course. And cash flow. Any indication there?
The due diligence report does mention strong operating cash flows. That's generally a positive sign. Things like free cash flow conversion or return on equity. Again, that requires looking at the full financial statements.
Okay. So if we were to sort of summarize the main red flags popping up from these reports.
It really boils down to those higher medical costs, the medical loss ratio, essentially, and these unanticipated changes in the Optum Health member profiles. Those are the direct drivers for the outlook revision and suspension.
Those are the headwinds. And on the flip side, the core strengths.
It's still that diversified model. Having both UnitedHealthcare and Optum gives them a really robust base. It allows for innovation, scale, and that integrated care management approach, which is a competitive advantage.
Their size alone is a huge factor in this industry.
Absolutely. Scale matters a lot in healthcare.
How's the market reacting to all this sentiment out there?
Well, as you'd expect with revised guidance and a suspended outlook, recent news suggests a more cautious sentiment from investors. The stock price reflected that initially.
And who are they really up against? Who are the main competitors here?
You've got the other big managed care organizations, think Anthem, Aetna, which is now part of CVS Health. But UnitedHealth Group is a market leader. And Optum, particularly its tech and data focus, gives it a unique position compared to some rivals.
Right. There was also a big leadership change recently, wasn't there?
Yes, quite significant. On May 13th, 2025, Stephen Hemsley returned as CEO. He replaced Andrew Whitty. Hemsley is also staying on as chairman.
Hemsley was CEO before, wasn't he? A familiar face returning.
He was. Led the company for a long time previously. So bringing him back now, um, it might signal a strategic shift or perhaps an effort to, restore investor confidence given the current challenges.
Interesting timing. Definitely something for investors to watch. And the stock price itself, you mentioned caution, but how has it actually performed?
It's been volatile. It apparently hit a 5-year low recently, but then saw something of a rebound.
So some movement.
Yes, likely driven by the earnings news, the guidance changes, and perhaps this leadership transition. Maybe Hemsley's return provided a bit of a boost recently.
Looking beyond just UnitedHealth Group for a second at the broader industry, what's the context here?
Well, this increased care utilization, especially in Medicare Advantage,
Yeah.
that's not just a UnitedHealth Group issue. We're seeing commentary about that across the sector. It's affecting competitors, too, most likely.
So an industry-wide trend they're dealing with.
Seems to be, yes. And then you always have the regulatory environment, especially around Medicare funding. It's a constant factor and potential challenge.
Right, always shifting sands there. Despite these current issues, what are they saying about the future? What are their goals?
They're stating they aim to return to their long-term earnings growth target, which has historically been in the 13–16% range. Ambitious, given the current situation.
Very ambitious. So the key is navigating these current cost pressures to get back on that track.
That's the challenge. Risks remain, obviously regulatory changes, broader economic factors hitting healthcare spending, and just executing their way through these higher costs.
It really paints a picture of complexity. Even for a giant like UnitedHealth Group, managing healthcare costs and utilization is a massive ongoing challenge.
It absolutely is. What's kind of fascinating here is you have this engine generating enormous revenue, yet these margin pressures from medical costs and member mix can significantly impact the bottom line and outlook.
It really highlights that you can't just look at revenue growth in this sector, can you?
Not at all. The medical loss ratio, the cost of care delivery, the regulatory landscape, these are just as critical, if not more so sometimes, for profitability.
So let's try to bring it together. For you listening, trying to make sense of UnitedHealth Group right now, what are the key things to keep in mind?
I'd say it's definitely a mixed picture currently. You have this undeniably strong, diversified business foundation, consistent revenue growth, scale. But they're facing significant headwinds right now, higher costs, these Optum shifts, leading to that revised and now paused near-term outlook. It creates uncertainty.
And the CEO change. Hemsley coming back.
That's a notable event, for sure. It could signal a real focus on tackling these problems head-on. Maybe seen as a move to stabilize things with experienced leadership. Time will tell how effective that is.
So the core issues, the medical costs, the member profile, changes those need close watching in the upcoming quarter.
Absolutely. How they manage those will be key. It really does underscore the intricacies of the healthcare business. Strong top line doesn't guarantee smooth sailing profit-wise.
No, definitely not. So if someone is considering an investment or holding the stock,
Well, based on this information, a cautious stance seems warranted. Maybe a hold perspective, as you hinted earlier. It's really crucial to monitor their upcoming earnings, listen to what management says about addressing these cost pressures, and see if they can start demonstrating progress towards those longer-term growth targets again.
what stands out most to you from all this discussion? It feels like a pivotal moment for them.
I think it's that tension between their scale and market leadership and these very real operational challenges hitting their profitability right now. It's definitely a situation worth keeping a close eye on as more information comes out.
Agreed. If you found this exploration useful for understanding what's happening with UnitedHealth Group, please do subscribe, like this discussion, and maybe leave a comment with any other questions you have. We're always looking for the next company or topic to explore for you.